A court case which ended today. They've been found guilty of the murder of a businesswoman.
The jury heard was an orgy of violence.
The judge told them, you are both morally degenerate.
This was a crime of passion and above all a crime of pure evil.
Sadie Hartley was killed in what's been called an act of demonic savagery.
Good evening, Lancashire Police.
I'm just wondering whether you'd be able to do a check on my boss's address. We've not heard from her for over 24 hours. Her name is Sadie Hartley.
I was in Hawaii with my fiance. We were asleep in bed. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning and we had a phone call from the police.
Emergency. Just arrived at the property. We're going to be forcing entry. There's a female inside on the floor with blood around her.
I don't think there's words to describe the way I was feeling at that moment, especially being on the other side of the world where you can't go and be there and help.
Everyone was smashed the window, was gained entry.
I didn't know whether someone had hurt her or she had fallen, and obviously that was the question I asked, and that's when they told me that somebody had done it.
Great. Thanks. Yes, you know, thanks very much for getting us. I don't know if people have had the chance to see the photographs on the wall. That is a picture of Sadie. Okay, so just keep that in your mind. At least then you can associate and you can see, because when you see these images, there is a health warning because she doesn't look like that now. Police officers attended Sadie's home address last night. They've gone into the address, having forced to open the front door, and it's quite clear that she's been stabbed to death.
Just to update you on the scene, I don't think I can underestimate the sight of what I saw, really, in terms of the severity of the attack on Sadie. I think it's true to say the extent of the injuries are something I've not seen. Sustained attack, clearly really violent and frenzied attack on effectively a defenceless woman in her own home. So Sadie is on the floor in the hallway, quite a way into the hallway really. It's not right on the doorstep. There are multiple stab wounds to her back, to her thigh, and those kind of areas.
I've been a police officer for 25 years now. If there is anything that surprises me, it's probably the ferocity of the attack against a pretty defenceless lady in her own home. You know, thankfully that is very, very unusual. You know, she's a successful business lady, and sadly she's lost her life in the most tragic circumstances. Just to say, really, it's very important to get that justice for Sadie, important to get justice for Sadie's family, so please, please be meticulous in your approach in everything you do.
So if I talk to you now about Ian Johnston, so he is current partner. He left 10 days ago to go to Switzerland skiing, and she was meant to join him this morning.
Ex-fireman Ian Johnston was Sadie Hartley's current partner. He was abroad on the night of the murder, so he's not considered a suspect at this stage. However, he has revealed an earlier suspicious incident.
Previously, she was very unnerved by the burglary that we had in August, felt very unsafe being in the house on her own. It's the first time he's been away since that burglary.
It would appear the person who's committed this offence has come in without causing damage to the premises and then left in the same way, really. So that sort of identifies, or potentially identifies, a number of hypotheses that it could be, going from potentially the perpetrators of a previous crime when she's had her house burgled in August last year, right through to somebody who knows her. You know, this could be a random murder that has absolutely no rational reason for why they murdered Sadie. And they could strike again at any time, of course. Well, we're going back to the scene now. The difficulty in securing evidence is that you only get one crack at it. So we've left Sadie in situ to allow us to do that. I don't want that to be any longer than absolutely necessary. Most of the homicide cases, the victim knows their attacker, and there's some sort of like conversation, some dialogue. Whereas this looked as though it was almost immediate upon her answering the door. We're moving forward now by way of our forensic strategy. We'll get some samples sent off to the laboratory, get them examined tonight, and then we'll see where that takes us.
We've been called in to assist with house-to-house inquiries. Can you just have a look at this one, because that one's number 20. The street itself is a straight-through road with pedestrian access at one end, vehicular access at another. It's only got houses on one side of it, and they're very large detached houses, so there's very few properties overlooking the scene itself.
As the house is so secluded, there's an urgent need for witnesses.
My name's Paul Withers, I'm a detective superintendent working for the Lancashire Constabulary. I am the senior investigating officer on this inquiry.
How are we doing? You all right? Sorry to bother you. Just doing some house-to-house inquiries.
Hi Pam, you all right? Yeah. Sadie from CID, I spoke to you earlier, yeah?
We know Sadie was alive at 7:30 because she's communicated from a home address with a work colleague. Yeah. I feel it may have happened during the course of Thursday evening.
So we've got a list of questions to ask you. The first one being, did you know the occupants of number 8?
I would urge anybody with any other information, please pick up the phone.
Did you see any other suspicious activity or any other suspicious people in the area on the Tuesday that you can think of?
I do remember seeing an older woman. She wasn't doing anything suspicious at all, she was just doing her thing, but yeah, I saw an older woman.
This case is quite unusual in the sense that there doesn't appear to be any apparent motive. You know, we're working very, very hard to try and identify why this has taken place. If it takes weeks, if it takes months, if it takes years, we will carry on and we will be unrelenting in our pursuit of the individual or the persons that have committed this offence against Sadie.
Detectives are reviewing CCTV they've collected from houses close to the victim's home, and they think they've spotted a suspicious vehicle.
These are all £500,000 to £1 million houses. There's Ferrari, there's Porsches, Audis, BMWs, you name it. When we were down there, I didn't see a Clio. Now, is it a takeaway driver, or is it the suspect driving by to see if there's any lights on? Then this is the next figure that comes across the road. Now, the Clio's only been gone 4 minutes.
Right. You've seen the Renault Clio?
Yeah. Have they done a recce Clio, done you, he'd see if there's any lights on?
Have they, or singular? Murder weapons in there somewhere, isn't it? Yeah. But look at the arm movements. Has that individual got their hand in the right pocket?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the left arm swinging.
So.
Pretty 99% happy that we have the offender on CCTV.
Right, yeah.
There's about 4 or 5 other CCTV opportunities, Andy, on that close.
Right, okay.
But certainly, mate, the Renault Clio is very, very apparent.
Right, let's talk about some of the individuals involved. Obviously, Ian Johnston's come back, who's a long-term partner. Ian, if you remember, was overseas. He was in Switzerland skiing. He's come back on a plane this morning.
He is obviously absolutely in pieces. Ian has told us that earlier in the week, whilst he was speaking to Sadie, she told him that some flowers arrived for her at the address on Tuesday evening, and she went to the door and saw a person in a baseball cap who handed over what she described as a cheap bunch of flowers. Sadie was clearly unnerved by this, according to Ian. She felt nervous and she thought there might be a link to a burglary that had occurred to that address back in August.
In addition to Sadie's anxiety about the delivery of the flowers, Ian has revealed a new lead. a woman he was seeing whilst he was with Sadie.
From the inquiries we've conducted with Ian, we've spoken to him about an ex-partner of his, a lady in her 30s that lives in the Chester area. Ian describes her as being somewhat obsessive, and as a result of that, clearly we've begun to concentrate on this lady.
Around 2 years ago, he had a separate relationship with a lass who worked for the chill factory in Manchester. Okay. She sends a letter to our victim disclosing the relationship. Okay.
If we think about what we know about her, the facts we know, certainly if the cell site comes back and it puts her in Hampshire on the 7th, we're not a million miles apart.
And any other occasion.
Yeah.
The team have used cell site technology to track the location of this woman's phone, a 34-year-old called Sarah Williams.
Despite the fact that she lives over in the Chester area, on the night that we believe that Sadie was handed a bunch of flowers, this lady was actually in the Helmshore area. The hypothesis could be that the week preceding the murder, that this individual made her way over to Helmshore, purchased some flowers, knocked on the door, clarified who Sadie was before handing over the flowers, only for her to return a week later at roughly the same time and commit what I can only describe as a brutal, callous, cold-blooded murder.
This could be a breakthrough, and the team now think they have enough grounds to bring the suspect in for questioning.
Very important that we arrest the suspect this evening. You know, it could be that she's fled the country or she's not about.
As you can see, the Cheshire officers are going in with public protection gear on to the house that we've identified. They are going to have the element of surprise. They're breaking the lock and they're going to make an entry to the premises.
Police! Police officers with taser! Police!
It appears the occupant that we were looking for is at home, in bed.
Sarah?
So we're just going to obviously get her suitably dressed and bring her out of the premises under arrest.
So you're under arrest on suspicion of murder for Sadie Hartley.
Okay, why's this lady here?
She's been brought over from custody in Chester at this moment in time. She's under arrest on suspicion of murder.
Okay.
Police have now learnt that as well as her relationship with Ian Johnston, Sarah Williams has a 75-year-old boyfriend.
When we turn up at the address, we get there and the neighbours come out because obviously of the police activity, and they say, oh, are David and Sarah okay? And we say, yeah, who's David? He said, oh, David's her boyfriend. He comes round every morning at 5 a.m. David's married. He's got a child. He's probably the same age or older, if not, than Sarah. And his wife is fully aware of their relationship. He describes the fact that he's been in a relationship with her, in a sexual relationship, that is, since she was 17 years of age. So there is a pattern of behaviour there that he leaves the marital address and his wife and goes round to Sarah's home address at 5 a.m. virtually every morning.
Do you understand why you've been arrested? We do need to ask some questions in relation to these really quite serious allegations.
Give you a quick seat. Okay. And just stand up, keep your hands open.
So, have you ever been arrested before?
No.
Are you working at present?
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
I sell ski holidays.
You understand the grounds why you've been arrested?
I understand the connection.
Okay. Does anybody need to know you're here?
Yeah, my boyfriend David.
Okay, I need to get some details from yourself.
Yeah. He's got my little dog.
So what have you got?
He's a Parsons Jack Russell.
In an attempt to establish a motive for the murder, detectives have been examining the text messages between Sarah Williams and Sadie's partner, Ian Johnston.
So what about Sarah? What about Sarah's billing? What do we think the catalyst is? Have we found the text message? Have we found that, I'm sorry, but this is ending?
That text message where he has said, this is it, it's ended, that is 16 months ago.
16 months ago?
Yeah. From that text messages, then we've got the letter from Sarah to Sadie, which caused a lot of problems between them two.
Yeah.
During that time, Sarah has kept in contact with Ian. So not to cause any more problems between Ian and Sadie, he's just dropped the odd text to her.
Certainly from her point of view, if you read the note section on her phone, it's there are essays and essays and essays of fantasy of what she wants him to do, and
that's from her.
That's from her.
Well, that's in her phone.
That's in her phone.
So that's good evidence, that.
Okay, let's just let that sink in.
Let's nail down the communication between Ian and her.
Yeah.
And this almost fixation.
Yeah.
I think the letters are interesting.
Yeah.
Between the deceased and...
Yeah, Sarah.
Sarah. Ian clearly is a critical witness in this case because the suspect is an ex-partner of his who appears to have a particularly unhealthy obsession with Ian, and we believe this may be the motive, tragically, for Sadie's quite brutal murder. When somebody loses their lives under such tragic circumstances, I always feel for the families. You know, that's what drives me on, if I'm honest. It's imperative that we get some justice for the families that are left behind, the loved ones. Hopefully, you know, people who I've dealt with will say I've served them very well over the years, and that's what I intend to do for Sadie's family.
My mum was a very fun-loving person. She didn't judge anyone. She literally didn't have anything bad to say about anybody. She was my hero in some respects. There was nothing I could ever fault about her whatsoever. She was looking to retire, and she was really, really looking forward to me and Robert having children and just spending a lot more time with us. I just want her to be remembered for just the happy, lovely lady she was, and that this wasn't supposed to happen to her. The fact that someone has taken her life for no reason whatsoever, I just think it's disgusting. Like, she's got 2 children, she's got a whole family that loves her, and it's just numbing. I feel strongly that it ruined me and my brother's life.
We're just going to go and meet the solicitor, who's here to speak to her client, and we'll then be going into interview with her.
It's sorted.
Yeah, thank you. She is going to be talking to you.
Good.
For Detective Constable Bryony Midgley, it's the first time she will be lead interviewer on a murder inquiry.
Sarah. Alright, this is Kate. You can grab the with us as well, alright?
This innocent lady who's just minding her own business in her home, getting ready to go on holiday, exciting time of life, her daughter's just got engaged, and she has been brutally murdered at her home. And it's horrible. First thing I'm going to ask you, Sarah, is are you responsible for the death of Sadie Hartley?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
14th of January this year, Thursday just gone.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was at home in Chester. Well, I got home at, I think, about 4. David met me at the house. I'd been sent home from work with a sickness bug. Then he went home, and then I went to sleep. I woke up the first time at maybe 9ish, but that was the dog that woke me up barking. And that's what I did, I wiped up some dog sick.
Despite Sarah Williams' claim to an alibi, forensic experts think they have made a key discovery.
Dom, I know you've got some forensic stuff that you need to show.
The forensic update I had earlier on was there's some dilute blood in one of the bathroom sinks. He wants to send that off in the morning first thing, along with our victim profile.
Okay.
Very quickly, the home address of our suspect appears to have been cleaned from top to bottom with bleach. Sadly, she appears to have missed a very small spot of blood on the sink.
This is a real chink of light now that's come over this case, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, if that is the deceased blood, it should be any charge of murder.
The team now want to find out the extent of Sarah Williams' obsession with Ian Johnston.
Okay. Ian. I met him, started skiing on March 11, so I'll have met him at some point during that year. That carried on until we fell out in the August 2014.
Tell me what happened there.
Yeah, he basically felt that I was too clingy and too needy. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I'd say I'm not. And then I wrote Sadie a letter telling her everything that had happened. She rang me up, had a go at me, obviously as you would expect. Probably not at all happy. Went to his house, we had an enormous row.
Whilst we're on Sadie.
Were you jealous of her?
No, because the way I saw it is, you know, he's quite happy to spend 12 months cheating on her and messing her about and talking about leaving. You know, it's not something to be jealous of. I didn't see they had like a great relationship.
She doesn't seem too fazed with the fact she's in custody, having never been in custody before and for such a serious offence. The only time she sort of made a reaction was when I explained what murder was, and she said, I thought I'd never be hearing those words. So there was sort of an acknowledgement that she was in a very strange situation at that point.
First impressions are at this stage, she's very cool, she's very calm and collected, albeit we haven't put any difficult questions to her. We've just given her the opportunity to tell us what she wants to tell us. So we've got a long way to go with the interviews, but early stages are she's very calm.
The police now only have 3 days to question and charge their suspect, or Sarah Williams will have to be released. It's day 3 of the investigation into the shocking murder of Sadie Hartley, and Detective Superintendent Paul Withers is now in sole charge of the 40 detectives involved in the inquiry.
I'm happy with the way the investigation is progressing. Clearly we still don't have that golden nugget. The blood that's been recovered from the suspect's home address, if that comes back as the blood of the victim, you know, that's quite difficult to explain away in any police interview, and you know, I can't wait for that result to come back. The CCTV on the night of Sadie's murder, we could see that there was a Renault Clio that arrived on Sunnybank. We get the Renault Clio going on the close about 10 to 8. Yeah, it then comes off. Murder then occurs, I would suspect. I really think we probably need a team absolutely thrashing the life out of any CCTV opportunities.
What time are we in there again, sorry?
2012 to 2020.
Right, the murder weapon, we haven't got back. Mick, I need to be 1000% positive, mate, that has not been discarded in any of that wooded area opposite the addresses. Any streams, it all needs doing.
Well, the past few days there has been some heavy snow up in this area, and this morning's the first day we've had where the snow is gone, so we can search. Looking for the murder weapon. We believe it to be a large knife. We've got no more description this time. It's always hard to search in open areas, a vast area, even small gardens take a long time. We just have to do the best we can to make sure no areas are missed out.
The murder weapon isn't the only key piece of evidence. Detectives are now focusing on the suspicious delivery of flowers to Sadie's house 1 week before the murder. They believe this was to clarify where she lived.
I think the flowers are a key line of inquiry. This was a dry run. From the witnesses we've spoken to so far, you know, we believe it may be a possibility that Sadie may have known Sarah Williams. So at this stage, you know, we believe the person that delivered the flowers may not have been Sarah Williams and may have been somebody else.
Now looking for a possible accomplice, detectives get a new lead. Sarah Williams' best friend.
I was out interviewing a witness, a close connection to the suspect, Sarah Williams, and when we arrived there was a silver Astra on the driveway. There had been a silver Astra spotted in the area of the scene of the murder on the night that the flowers were delivered. In that silver Astra it was reported that there was potentially a bald-headed male and a female. When we went into the house to speak to Katrina Walsh, she revealed that she's got alopecia, and when she removed a hat that she was wearing, she was predominantly bald on top with a few strands of hair.
Kit is 6 years old, and they've met through the love of horses, basically. Kit wears all the time baseball caps because of the fact that she's losing her hair. Whilst we were sat there, we looked up at the side.
Sorry mate, does Sadie say the person is wearing a baseball cap? We've got a phone. If that phone is in Helmshire on the 7th, clearly her status in the inquiry changes considerably.
I believe she's the woman that delivered those flowers, because Sadie said it
the
was,
description, the way she behaved,
not a girl.
Right.
But she's got baseball caps everywhere. And I said, when you go out, what do you wear? She went, always wear a hat, always wear baseball caps. So it's going to be her boss.
Right.
Definitely.
Right, okay. Kit, who is the friend of Sarah, I think is going to be the lady who has delivered the flowers to the deceased on Thursday the 7th, from the description given. So we're just going to have a quick chat with the people that have dealt with her about Kit's status in the inquiry, which I think is going to change from being a witness to a suspect.
In addition, it's believed that new CCTV footage shows Sarah Williams buying the flowers, accompanied by a person in a baseball cap.
Do you see a face on this?
No, that's
very,
you see the
very
top of it.
purse, though. We need to get that purse.
There's the purse and the handbag as well. That's just
Purse is really distinctive.
Yeah.
Just see
there we go.
Beautiful.
A scarf on.
It's a work one. It looks
It's
like a
almost
red
like it's a
hoodie.
hoodie. There's a bag, isn't it?
The phone of Katrina Walsh, otherwise known as Kit, has now been examined. It confirms that she was in Helmshire on the night the flowers were delivered.
She's delivered the flowers, mate, hasn't she? She's delivered the flowers. But she doesn't self-site in the area or any other dates. As a result of the information that has come from members of the inquiry team, we've made the decision basically to arrest a lady by the name of Kit. We know that the phone belonging to Kit was actually in the vicinity of the home address of the victim on the 7th of December, so hence that's why we're going to effect the arrest today.
Just step into there and watch your head on the top. Yeah. Okay. Watch your head and just take a seat down there.
As we've come out of our previous interview, there's been a lot of information is coming through. Around the 7th of January, the flower delivery night, she denies going anywhere near that house, denies any knowledge of the house. And there's things coming up now that are stamping holes in her story that we need to challenge Sarah with.
Bryony and the team have discovered Sarah Williams often visited Ian Johnston's former home, which is also in Helmshire.
Holcombe Road in Helmshire.
When have you last been to his house?
To his house to see him. not since we had that massive Barney, but I've been and sat outside it quite a number of times.
When did you last do that?
Last week, I think it was Thursday.
Was that Thursday the 7th?
Yeah, it must be.
We're saying that on the 7th of January, you've gone over to Elmshaw, decided to confirm that Sadie lives at that address on Sunnybank by this ruse of having a bunch of flowers. Is that the case?
You have to be out of your bloody mind.
I'd like you to know that at this current time, officers were looking for Kit to arrest her on suspicion of murder. Her phone pings a mast in Helmshaw at the same time that your phone pings a mast in Helmshaw on Thursday the 7th of January.
Is there anything you want to say in relation to that?
I hope it's not as terrifying for her being arrested, because having people coming into your house at 3 in the morning it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
For somebody who's under arrest for murder, she's very calm. When we just told her at the very end of the last interview that her friend's been arrested on suspicion of murder, because we can put them both in Helmshaw at the same time, she looked visibly shocked, and that's the first time I've seen a really big reaction on her face. This poor lady has met an absolutely horrific end. Nobody should have to suffer that, and it's our job to find out who's done it and why, and that keeps you going. None of us have had any sleep, none of us have seen our families, but at least we can still walk home to our families, and that family have lost a member. You know, Sadie's gone for them. They'll never see her again, so that keeps us going.
I want to know everything. I want to know why. Obviously everything to do with who's involved and, you know, how this has come about. I feel like I need to know everything.
Lancashire Police are investigating the brutal murder of businesswoman and mother Sadie Hartley. Evidence is beginning to mount, and now forensics have thrown up a new lead.
There was an item which was stuck in the kind of roll-top neck of Sadie's jumper. What we did, we sent that through to our forensic science lab. He indicated that he believed that it may be from a stun gun.
He said they're mass-produced, really low cost.
You think of this poor lady who's either been zapped with it straight away, you know, perhaps our offender has said, I want to talk to you. Our victim's walking away. If you think where her body was located, it was probably about 10 feet into the hallway. You know, is she leading the way, and then she's done it on the back of her neck, and then set about, and then she's been stabbed to death, you know, 50 knife blows. So, you know, absolutely top end this for me. And, you know, where she got this stun gun from.
Sarah Williams' best friend, riding instructor Katrina Walsh, has been brought in for questioning.
This is Katrina Walsh, and she's here on suspicion of murder. She's been arrested in Chester.
Do you understand why she's been arrested?
Yes,
you don't need to
I do.
agree with it, but you understand why.
I understand why, but I don't remember. I don't recall, because I have a memory problem. If I don't write things down, I forget them within three sleeps. Two sleeps, I can just about remember them. One sleep, it's hazy. 3 sleeps, it's gone. I will tell you everything I know.
Not yet.
Right.
I won't be asking you any questions in relation to this matter at the desk.
Right, yeah.
It's my job as custody sergeant to look after you and your welfare and make sure you're treated properly. I'm not part of the investigation itself, do you understand that? So if at some point you want me to notify someone you're here, I'll do that for you. At this moment
You better tell David.
Who's David?
David's who I've been staying with, because he'll be expecting me back.
Okay. Is David a partner or just a friend?
He's a partner of Sarah.
Okay.
Who's at the centre of all this. And he doesn't believe she did it, but I've been really worried, because I've had that note to myself that she might have done it, in which case, you know, I've been petrified, because until I knew whether, for sure, I mean, because now I've forgotten, I couldn't be sure. And I also couldn't be sure if I'd done it.
Katrina,
Yeah.
if you had a solicitor here now, you would be advised not to comment at all on the allegations.
All right.
I know it's an unsolicited comment. I
want to tell everybody what I know before I forget it.
During the arrest, Katrina Walsh, who claims to have a short-term memory, told officers about a note she wrote in her diary, which could relate to the murder.
So is she trying to say that that's in the diary?
That if it all goes up, say by the stream, by the southwest of Zeffie's field and high above the saddle, that was in this loose page in the diary, but she has no idea what that means. I thought Zeffie was a place. Zeffie's a horse. Yeah, I've just realised that in custody when she said, someone's going to have to look after my horse, Zeffie. So I realised then. She said, you can't remember what that means, but she said you had to tell me before she forgot, and she flushed the page down the toilet.
She's told one of the jailers that she keeps a diary because she forgets things and she might have done something wrong. She's terrified of Sarah and believes if Sarah had asked her to do something or destroy something, she'd have been terrified and done it. She also mentioned hiding something near the stream where her horse is kept, either there or up near the saddle.
Got a suggestion she's come here, she's made reference to a horse, Zephyr, a field. She has a stable here that the horse is kept in. Obviously we've got a list of items that we are particularly looking for, so the teams are briefed on what we might be looking for. A pointed weapon, potentially a knife. I've no further description, unfortunately. Some suggestion of a stun gun, like a taser. Mobile phones, Apple devices, vehicle keys and receipts, including financial documentation. It's a very big farm, 58 stables, 12 fields. My opinion, a conservative estimate will be it will take us a very long time to search this properly.
As the search at the farm continues, the investigation team have unearthed further evidence.
She's in, according to her interview, she's in bed. So while she tells us she's in bed in her knickers fast asleep, she's walking out of the house with another in her outdoor clothes, going to a car. This morning I was at 95, this afternoon I was at 99, and now I'm about 110. The guiltyometer's flipped.
Why has she not got more comments?
She will do tomorrow.
Why is she not now?
Because she wants to talk.
She wants to tell you.
She's a psychopath.
Detectives Brian and Keith are keen to challenge Sarah Williams with all the CCTV evidence, including new footage around the suspicious flower delivery 1 week before the murder.
No, I think we'll show the footage to both of them in the interview.
Right.
And we'll explain on the disclosure that there is footage and we will be showing it in the interview.
We've got CCTV evidence of them delivering the flowers, which puts numerous holes in Sarah's tale. She's adamant she was in Hampshire alone, so it's going to be a very interesting interview to see her reaction to the CCTV and the telephony.
She was very confident in the first interview, and I think that confidence is waning now. I think she's realising that things are getting tricky, and they're going to get trickier for her. And I think that is why she'll probably go no comment now.
We've CCTV evidence that shows you, as you've just seen, at Haslingden Tesco inside the store on the 7th of January.
No comment.
You attended Tesco with a specific task in mind, didn't you?
No comment.
You didn't want us to know, did you?
No comment.
What I'm going to show you next, Sarah, is CCTV from Sunnybank Road, and it shows two figures with a bunch of flowers walking down the road towards Sadie's house. Have you and Kit gone there to check it's the right house?
No comment.
Why did you send Kit to the door?
No comment.
Why weren't you brave enough to go yourself?
No comment.
Is it because you now Sadie would recognise you? We've CCTV evidence shows two persons leaving Williams' address and walk along Treborth Road time on the 14th of January 2016. You've explained to us you were ill in bed because you'd been sick. Can you explain any of that to me?
No comment.
That's no comment to all the questions we've put to her. Her demeanour has changed dramatically. She's gone from... There's been a lot of sitting forward and eye contact between me and her in the previous interviews. She's really gone into a shell, and I can only begin to imagine what's going through her mind right now. If she wants to answer no comment, it can help us further down the line. Obviously it's frustrating because you want them to tell you what they've done. We all want to know, don't we? What she's done, why she's done it, how she's gone in, what she's done first, why she stabbed her, how she stabbed her, how she used a stun gun. We might not get that from her, and so that's frustrating.
We're at the house of the suspect who's been arrested. As you can see here, there's numerous items been seized throughout the day. We've been here for just over 5 hours now. This is the main bedroom of the house. I think there was 68 exhibits from this bedroom alone. We're obviously looking for any knives, any other sharp objects, anything, specks of blood on shoes.
One of the items seized from the house has caught the attention of Detective Superintendent Paul Withers.
We're working very, very hard on a specific telephone that has been recovered from Sarah Williams' home address. That's an old Nokia. That was, I believe, found underneath a bed. We believe she had that phone with her on the night of the murder.
The very first call it makes is to Crystal Holidays. It's a 14-second call, which we know is Sarah Williams' employers.
Yeah.
There's very little use of it then on the 7th until 7 minutes past 3 in the afternoon, when it makes a 17-second call to Hartley Taylor Medical Communications.
All right, has everybody got their head around that? Yeah? She uses that phone that she's clearly took to do the job, and she uses it in the morning to ring her workplace, and then in the afternoon she rings Sadie's workplace.
The information from the phone has also helped with another critical line of inquiry, the suspicious Renault Clio.
Well, from the research we've done on her phone, we've got some numbers. From those numbers, they were all people that were selling vehicles. We went to the last one in the list, thinking if there's no more activity after that, she's bought that car. And lo and behold, the gentleman's disclosed that he sold the car, a blue Clio, to a lady who paid cash.
So we've got the registration number, we know what the car is. Right, where is it? Yeah, that car will be absolutely saturated with blood. We need that car back tonight, ladies and gents.
Finding the car is crucial, as it could forensically link the suspect to the crime. But so far, attempts to find it using number plate recognition cameras have proved frustrating.
That is a Renault Clio.
Sergeant Mark Sharples has now worked out why it's taken them so long to identify the vehicle.
It looks very much like an 8, and the ANPR system has read that as an 8, but the actual picture of the car is not Toyota Yaris, it's a Renault Clio.
So basically, mate, it should be a 3, she's made it into an 8.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Eh?
So,
well done. You're as good as your last job, Sharples. That's a good job.
Armed with the correct number plate, it's only a matter of time before the police locate the Clio.
Control to Sierra Alpha Car 2.
And very quickly, they have a breakthrough. In a car park 55 miles from the murder scene.
Where else is it? In the Victoria views. I'll just put him on, all right?
Andy, how you doing, mate? Absolutely fantastic, mate. Great work, pal.
That's the last cell sighting of Sarah's phone. This is the location of where it's been found, so just bear with me. Yeah. I'll plot that for you. In the middle of a car park, there's no issues with it. Right. It appears to be showing its original plate, but they do look like there's remnants of sticky tape over the 3.
Yeah. Tell you what, Adrian, you are brighter than you look. We've located the suspect vehicle we're looking for, the Renault Clio. So what we will do from here is we will arrange a full forensic recovery, so effectively nobody touches that car, not even the people doing the recovery. The potential in that vehicle is huge for blood transfer because the offender has not had a chance to clean themselves, to wash themselves, to change their clothing. From the CCTV footage we've got in the locality around Helmshore, the vehicle's gone off pretty sharpish after the offence, so they are going to be laden in blood. So it's a critical find for the investigation.
.55-year-old riding instructor Katrina Walsh has been arrested for the murder of Sadie Hartley.
Should we go?
She claims to have a 3-day memory and now faces her first interview under caution.
At the moment, it is still very unclear what her role has been throughout these proceedings. You know, it's very important that we are very sure-footed around that individual to see whether or not she has had involvement in the death of Sadie.
Do you know who murdered Sadie Hartley?
Yes. All I can remember at the moment is that I knew that Sarah had killed someone. I've been terrified for days, absolutely terrified for days while she was around.
The very first question I asked you was, did you kill Sadie Hartley? You said no. And then I said, do you know who killed? And you said yes. Who killed Sadie Hartley?
Sarah Williams.
How do you know that?
Because she's at the core of this knot of panic in me. But I can't remember that she killed her.
What can you remember that terrifies you about Sarah?
I think I started to suspect that she was a psychopath. And that I was very close friends with the psychopath.
I'm going to show you, Kit, 3 photographs of a road which is called Sunnybank Road. Okay. Do you remember Sarah in connection with this property?
Yes.
What does she instruct you to do?
I go to the door, knock, ask Mrs. Hartley, and hand the flowers. She wanted to find out where the ditch is. She wants to take Ian off the bitch.
Walsh has been assessed when she initially arrived in custody here, you know, and they clearly deemed her to be fit. She was interviewed at length and she had a good recollection of a lot of the stuff that went on. You know, I wouldn't know whether she has memory issues or not. My view is probably not.
That was bought by Sarah in Germany. I basically went like that out the folder, and as I went like that,
yeah, that's fine.
She went,
mate.
Germany, 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 Germany.
Cheers,
Fine. So, as it comes out, they've been on some form of road trip. We need to get our diaries out to find out when they've been to Germany.
We've had some information today that suggests that Sarah Williams may have actually driven to Germany to buy the stun gun, which we fear she may have used to incapacitate Sadie before she's been stabbed. So, you know, this has been planned for a number of weeks, and again, you know, I find that quite chilling, really.
Mrs. Hartley is the bitch. It's Ian's partner, isn't it? Mrs. Hartley, she's Ian's partner, and it was like, she wants to get rid of her. She wants to get rid of her. She would kill her. She would kill her. And this is how she's talking. It is properly like a trance.
Obviously, we sent off the blood sample, didn't we, from Sarah's home address. There was a fragment of blood that was dilated on the bath. Results of that have come back. Sadie's DNA profile is represented fully in that sample. It's fantastic. So that's an absolute corker.
All right, bit knackered. You know, well done. Yeah, we're moving forward. You know, I know I keep reiterating and papping on. Let's not be complacent. Still need to nail down what has Kit's involvement been in this. You know, has she been exploited by Sarah?
which is certainly a hypothesis I think we need to consider, but it's now about really nailing it down.
We're going to put everything to her now. We need to go into the day of the murder. We've skirted around it a long time now, so it's time to discuss weapons, injuries, how she's committed the murder. But the evidence now is getting so overwhelming and so compelling, and that blood, there's no other explanation from what she's told us so far about her relationship with Sadie as to how Sadie's blood could be in her bathroom.
A Nokia phone was seized when we've searched your home address. First call it makes is the phone number of Sadie Hartley's business. No comments. So Sarah, the victim of a really ferocious stabbing, we have her DNA in your bathroom. Is there any feasible reason how that could have happened? No comments.
Sarah Williams has now been interviewed for just under 6 hours.
We need to make sure that everything is completely watertight and there won't be any bits for the defence to pick on, or any holes or loopholes or bits that we've missed that they can say, well, if you'd have asked my client at the time, she would have said, this lady needs justice, her family needs justice, somebody needs to be convicted for this murder, the right person needs to be convicted for this murder.
My mum was just such a trusting, loving person that if there was an issue, all you had to do was talk to my mum. She never ever got confrontational, she never got cross, she was never angry, all she ever wanted to do was talk things through. And I feel like if that had happened, this wouldn't have happened, and she would still be here with us today. It was pointless.
Katrina Walsh will now be interviewed for a second time. This will be filmed to be used as evidence in court. With Sarah Williams refusing to talk, this testimony could prove to be crucial.
What evidence is it that you've hidden?
I've hidden a zapper, a knife, the soles of some boots.
Tell me what a zapper is.
It's a black thing with a squeezy, and it's got prongs, and it makes a horrible crackly noise.
The next item on this list, what does that say?
A knife.
Right, tell me about that.
It's a knife, and I suspect, at the time I suspected it's killed somebody.
Okay, why do you suspect that?
Because I've been told to destroy it.
Who by?
Sarah. She got in my car and gave me bags with instructions to burn the clothes and the towels and everything, and utterly destroy everything else.
Okay.
I opened the bag. I opened the bag. Go on. She's done it. She's done it. She's done it.
She's done what?
She's killed somebody. She's killed somebody.
How do you know that?
There's a knife and the zapper and.
All right. Okay.
I've got evidence. I've got evidence.
Detectives investigating the horrific murder of Sadie Hartley now believe they have built up a compelling case against Sarah Williams.
We've finished the interviews. CPS have authorised charge, so we're going to go and charge Sarah with Sadie Hartley's murder. It's not every day you get to charge someone with murder, is it? Sarah. Okay, Sarah, CPS have authorised us to charge you. So I am charging you with the offence of murder that on the 14th of January 2016 at Helmshire, you murdered Sadie Hartley, contrary to common law. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention now something which you'll later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Everyone will be relieved that we've got a charge, but like this is where the really hard work starts now. We've got to get a case to court.
I think there's going to be some decisions to be made around Kit, Katrina Walsh, because it's looking like she's certainly assisted.
Why has she trusted you to get rid of the evidence? If you're not involved in this, why has she trusted you?
She wants to frame me for it. She wants to frame me for it or kill me and frame me for it. At that stage, that's all I can think.
Why didn't you walk into a police station and speak to the police?
Because whenever I was that frightened, I was more frightened of her than anything else.
Sadly, Kit, it shouldn't be me that you're sorry to. But
And oh no, I'm very, very deeply.
But you shouldn't be sorry to me.
No, I'm deeply sorry. I mean, that's the. Oh God.
Right.
Okay. Right. Take that one for you.
Am I right to get some more water?
You've got a full water there.
A lot of people think, you know, when someone is charged with murder that all the work's been done. Really, really important to realise that all the hard work will now start, and it's that attention to detail which gives that full picture and which can have a really, really significant bearing on the sentence.
With forensics confident that there are considerable traces of blood in the car, the team can focus again on Katrina Walsh.
Katrina, talk to us about Katrina.
She thinks, and this is the theme throughout when we've been asking, why have you done this? We're playing Hunted. They've been watching a programme called Hunted, which is where you hide from the authorities. It's just a game. Nobody gets hurt. It's just a game.
Did you say anything about the murder weapon, the knife or the taser?
She will be able to tell us where all these items are.
Right. We clearly need to get her out. We need to get that evidence back, and because it supports what she's telling us.
The plan today is to go out and we're going to do something quite unusual. We're going to actually take her out to this farm where she's agreed to show us where she's concealed these items.
If Katrina Walsh leads detectives to the murder weapon, it could prove damning against both her and Sarah Williams.
Here, somewhere where I can get to the water. And it'll be pushed into the mud somewhere down there, I think. Zapper, some oddments, a car key under those piles.
You pointed then and you said knife. Show me where you pointed to. So where this horse
poo is, because I've put the horse poo on top so that I could.
Right. Then you said to me zapper. Where's the zapper?
In this somewhere in that.
Okay. So where did you go next?
After doing that, I went up to the yard where the.
Right. Well, come on. You show us. We'll follow it back up.
Yep. Follow it back up.
She said on her walk round, she's pointed to places where she's put things. So there's the knife and the taser. She's explained that she's pushed into the ground on the bank.
Actually, be the car key.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. We found what initially looks like pepper spray with something underneath it.
Is there a barb missing, Chris? Yes, there is. Yes, nice one.
That's the same one that's on my desk.
There was at the scene a barb that was recovered, we believe, from a stun gun. We've just recovered a stun gun as well, missing a barb, so there's just the one barb on there where there should be two. We've also recovered a car key, which we believe is of interest to the inquiry team as well.
But the most vital item is undoubtedly the murder weapon.
Just put it out like that.
Can you see it? Just pull it out, put it straight in there.
Wow. Big, isn't it? See the blood on the end?
Yeah.
Still got blood on it.
Police are now convinced that Katrina Walsh played a willing and significant role in Sadie's murder.
You are charged that on the 14th of January 2016 at Helmshaw murdered Sadie Hartley contrary to common law.
No, I didn't.
You don't need to make a reply.
Katrina, do you want to make any reply to that charge?
No, we don't need to make
Katrina? Do you want to make a reply or not?
Mrs. Walsh, we don't need to make a reply.
It's quite chilling actually when you consider the meticulous planning that has gone into this over a number of weeks. In the weeks ahead, hopefully that will be presented before the Crown Court.
With the trial looming, the team have built up a more complete picture of what took place and have discovered some compelling new evidence which further implicates both Williams and Walsh.
When Katrina's house was searched, seized a lot of diaries, so I was allocated the task of going through the diaries, and I've read through 2010 to 2015. The planning for the murder came a lot earlier than we thought it would have been. I think it's about 18 months in advance that is the first mention of taking Sadie out, or words to that effect. So Katrina's defence in interview was that she didn't know anyone was getting murdered, it was all a game. She did know somebody was getting murdered, and she was very much implicit in that. She writes at one point, I may take part in this, and I'm quite excited by it, I can't sleep. I think she has a glass of Southern Comfort to calm her nerves after the first day of planning.
I think the relationship between them is quite a bizarre relationship. It's almost as if Katrina Walsh is almost infatuated with Sarah Williams, and there are parts where it appears that Sarah Williams may be financially exploiting Katrina Walsh as well as other people.
You can see the page is ripped out there. There's 2 full pages, there's amendments, there's crossings out. But she obviously realises there's incriminating stuff in there, else she wouldn't have gone back and ripped key passages out. But having read these, I very much doubt she's got a memory issue, because she's remembered that she needed to go back and cut things out. So she says, poked Sarah, who said she would ring. I guess Ian getting back has sent her craziness off again. Relaxed and got a call in the afternoon, and Sarah came round, so got caught up in endless murder plots for Ian's other half. I'm going to be involved now, heaven help me. I have no moral qualms, just a serious don't let us get caught twinge. Her diaries have just completely blown her defence out of the water. August 2014, she's been writing about murdering Sadie, so she did know somebody was going to get killed, so it's really key evidence.
With both defendants pleading not guilty, the trial is a long and painful process for Charlotte and the family.
I want to be there every single day. I just want to hear everything to almost try and make sense of it. I don't know if it'll ever help myself or my brother. I don't think anything will. I want to know why. I don't think we'll ever get the answer why.
I'm a little bit apprehensive this morning, if I'm honest. You know, in my time as a police officer, it's one of the most callous crimes I have ever investigated. the murder of Sadie as almost like a ruthless assassination. It's always on your mind that the trial could go the wrong way. Thankfully, it's only ever happened once to me in my service. And again, if I'm brutally honest, something that haunts me still, probably will stay with me till the day I die. You look at the planning that has gone into this from Williams and Walsh. You know, I almost think they thought they were planning the perfect murder, and that clearly Williams thought she would be able to get away with this. Well, they're actually amateurs.
After a trial that lasted over 6 weeks, the jury has reached a verdict.
Earlier today, Sarah Williams and Katrina Walsh have been convicted of the brutal and senseless murder of Sadie Hartley at her home address in Helmshaw on the evening of the 14th of January. Albeit Williams may have been the one that wielded the knife on this evening, there can be no doubt that Katrina Walsh was also heavily involved in this dreadful, dreadful crime. All right, look after yourself. Yeah.
Sending whoever has done this to prison, of course that'll put peace of mind in, you know, for myself and my brother, but it doesn't bring back my mum. And obviously, you know, 30 odd years in prison, they're still here. My mum's not here anymore.
Next.